Crawford needs the money.
Crawford needs the money?
You think he got a chance to win?
Gervonta "Tank" Davis and Terence Crawford are at it again. And this time, the verbal jabs are just as explosive as a knockout punch. Their rivalry has been brewing for a while, but Tank's latest comments about Crawford's upcoming fight with Canelo have reignited the tension. Crawford is set to move up to weight classes to face Canelo later this year, a fight many in the boxing world consider massive challenge. Gaining 14 pounds to take on a naturally bigger and stronger fighter like Canelo is no easy task, but Crawford has been clear about his motivations.
Lead with ego. Like if you hear somebody like Tank say 147, I knock Bud out.
Well, he just talking. You know,
I want to challenge myself. Canelo is a great fighter, an all-time great, one of the best to ever come out of Mexico. I'm one of the all-time greats, so why not? Why not put it to the test? What do they say? Big risks, big rewards. That's what I'm looking for, Crawford said, making it clear that this fight is about legacy, about testing himself against one of the best fighters in the world. But Tank Davis wasn't buying any of it. He wasn't impressed with Crawford's reasoning, and he made sure the world knew exactly how he saw it. Crawford needs the money. That wasn't a question. That wasn't speculation. Tank said it like it was a fact, like there was no other reason Crawford would take this fight except for a massive payday. And that was just the beginning. Tank didn't stop at calling Crawford out for chasing money. He took it even further, throwing serious shade at how Crawford has been looking physically in the ring. He needs the money, for sure. I'm telling you, he's a good fighter, but I'd say smaller fighters are always better than bigger fighters because they know how to move and all that. But didn't he get clipped by Gamboa, right? How the F*** is he looking this strong over the past year? He ain't been getting clipped or nothing. That snack S***. I'm telling you, you'll laugh.
Somebody asked Lomachenko.
No.
Right.
Turkey said he got your 2 Ferraris ready. What you think about that? Oh, Turkey said he got your 2 Ferraris ready.
Tank wasn't just questioning Crawford's strengths, he was straight up suggesting something shady was going on. He brought up Yuriorkis Gamboa, a fighter who hurt Crawford years ago, and basically implied that it didn't make sense how dominant Crawford has looked in recent times. And just to make sure people really got what he was saying, he mentioned SNAC. Victor Cone Snack Nutrition has a history in the sport and not always a good one. Whenever fighters are linked to it, there's always a whisper about performance enhancers, about whether their strength is truly legit. Tank didn't outright accuse Crawford of anything, but he knew exactly what he was doing by bringing it up. He wanted people to question how Crawford has been performing. He wanted them to think there's something unnatural about it.
You're talking about Victor Conti? He went to jail, right? Victor Conti? Yeah. And he the owner of the snack shop. And he went to jail. Now it's like, you see, I don't want to throw him out of the boat, but you see,
Crawford wasn't about to let that slide. He came back just as hard and went straight for Tank's ego. Why is he talking like he's the greatest in the sport? Little dude hasn't even fought anyone. The fans know it, we know it. Crawford wasn't just responding, he was reminding everyone that Tank hasn't faced the level of competition that he has. Because as much as Tank is one of the biggest names in boxing, the biggest criticism against him has always been his choice of opponents. He hasn't fought Devin Haney, he hasn't fought Shocker Stevenson, he hasn't fought Vasily Lomachenko. People have been calling him out for it for years, and Crawford made sure to hit that spot directly.
what champ? Come on, man, tell me what belt. You know boxing. You forgot Devin Haney is undisputed. Devin Haney got all the belts. He the champ. Nobody else the champ. I'm gonna come up here where the big boys at. All right, I'll welcome.
And Crawford didn't stop there. He took it even further, making it clear that Tank hasn't been tested the way he has. The only way Tank will learn his lesson is if he gets dropped by his opponent. Crawford wasn't just talking about fights, he was talking about humbling experiences. About the fact that Tank has never been in a fight where he's had to really dig deep, where he's been in serious trouble. Crawford, on the other hand, has fought killers. He's been hurt, he's battled through tough moments and come out on top, but Crawford doesn't see the same kind of adversity in his career. To push his point even further, he threw his support behind Lamont Roach, the man Tank is set to fight next, the guy he's fighting. Lamont, that's a fighter who has more balls than he will ever have.
Can't be like all the other fighters that moving up 2 weight classes, and, you know, daring to be great.
You would fight him.
Man, tell him to come up there.
He got to come to win 54.
He said I got a glass chin, so tell him come and touch it.
Oh, man.
Crawford didn't just praise Roach, he used him to call out Tank's entire approach to boxing. He was saying that Roach, a guy with far less fame and far fewer big paydays, is more willing to take risks than Tank has ever been. And that's a shot that cuts deep, because if there's one thing Tank doesn't want to be seen as, it's a fighter who plays it safe. According to Crawford, Lamont Roach isn't handpicking opponents the way Tank does. So Tank, he shouldn't be telling anyone. They're just in it for the money.
Right? I know we last talked Big Bro first to Tank, right? And then, or is it?
Whoever. I told Tank. Tank know what's up. You know what I mean? He know what he up against when he fights Shakur or Keyshawn. You know what I mean? He want to fight these guys that everybody in the world know they ain't gonna give him no fight. They not.
That's the irony Crawford wanted everyone to see. While Tank was out here claiming Crawford was only taking this fight for money, Crawford flipped it right back on him. He was saying, "You're the one picking opponents carefully. You're the one avoid the big guest challenges. You're the one making sure every fight you take is the safest path to the bag." Tank knew exactly what he was doing when he made those comments. He wanted to control the conversation. He wanted people to question why Crawford took this fight. Was it really about legacy or just about cash? And by bringing up Snack, he wanted to stir up doubts about how Crawford has been looking in touring. But Crawford didn't just sit back. He fired backhand. He made sure to hit Tank where it hurt. And with the way things are going, this back and forth is nowhere near over.
I got a question for you, Tank. At 147, how does a fight with you and Terence Crawford look?
147?
147.
Shit, I tapped that chin. You know he going to sleep.
I already know. I already know
he
he
ain't
is.
got no chance.
I already know he is.
Tank has never been one to follow that crowd. While other boxing stars are chasing massive paydays in Saudi Arabia, Tank is standing firm in the US, refusing to let the sport be controlled by outsiders who, in his words, don't know nothing about that sport. He's watching as some of the biggest names, Crawford, Canelo, and Benavidez, are signing deals and flying across the world to fight under Turkey Alashikspana. But Tank, he's not interested. He's got his own empire to build, and he's not about to let someone else dictate how he moves. For Davis, it's not just about money, it's about the integrity of the sport. And after seeing what happened during the recent Saudi Arabia card, he's more convinced than ever that he made the right decision to stay put. You guys saw the guy. Alashik looked at the scorecards. That wasn't just an offhand comment. That was Davis calling out something he sees as deeply wrong. During the Carlos Adames vs. Hamza Shiraz fight, Alashik was caught on camera standing behind Shiraz's corner holding up 2 fingers. Many believe he was signaling that Shiraz needed a knockout towing. And right after that, the fight ended in a highly questionable draw, allowing Adames to retain his WBC middleweight title. The WBC and the British Boxing Board of Control tried to brush it off, saying Alashik couldn't have possibly known the scorecards. But Davis isn't buying it. He saw what he saw. And if the sport's biggest power players are willing to look the other way, that just confirms his suspicions.
Terence Crawford is good, but he's not what people make him the same. He's not pound for pound.
Davis has been in boxing long enough to recognize corruption, bad decisions, politics, favoritism. It's always been part of the sport. But this time, it feels different. It feels like the entire sport is being taken over by one man with endless money. And Davis isn't willing to play along. They keep saying, "We need to get Tank over here for a fight with Shocker," but I already know what they're trying to do. Davis said he knows exactly why they want him in Saudi Arabia. A fight between him and Shocker Stevenson would be a blockbuster, one of the biggest matchups in boxing. But for Davis, it's not just about the paycheck, it's about the bigger picture. He sees how things are being run over there, and he doesn't like it.
What I care about these titles for? You can't eat no belt.
Hey, makeup covers up a lot of imperfections. Matchmaking can do the same thing. What are you scared of?
In this sport, it's like your job never done.
Anybody could be undisputed in the right fight.
You want me to go sell a title that I didn't work my whole life for, but boxers do that.
How can it?
Let's be real, Davis doesn't need to go anywhere. He's already a star. His upcoming fight against Lamont Roach Jr. is set to break records at Brooklyn's Barclays Center, generating the most lucrative light boxing gate in the arena since his last fight there 3 years ago. He's the biggest draw in the lightweight division, and he has massive fights lined up for the future. Lomachenko, Stevenson, Garcia, each one a multi-million-dollar showdown waiting to happen. But here's the real question. Will those fights even take place in the US anymore? Right now, Saudi Arabia is taking over the sport. Canelo Alvarez just signed a 4-fight deal with Alal Sheikh, locking him into fighting in Saudi Arabia at least 3 times, including giving up his traditional Cinco de Mayo fight in Las Vegas to do so. Terence Crawford, the undisputed welterweight king, is set to fight there in September. David Benavidez, who previously insisted he wanted to stay in the US, was recently seen meeting with Alal Sheikh, even Oscar de la Hoya, instead of hosting a massive Latino fight night in cities like Los Angeles, Phoenix, or San Antonio, took the event to Saudi Arabia instead. The US is losing its grip on big-time boxing, and Davis is one of the last stars standing. Not all money is good money, he says. That's the part a lot of these fighters don't understand. Yeah, the Saudi checks are massive, but what are they giving up in return? Control, influence, the ability to dictate their own careers. Davis isn't blind. He sees what's happening. He's not saying fighters shouldn't get paid, but at what cost? I just don't like how this guy comes into the game, and he doesn't know anything about the sport, nothing. And that's the core of it. Alal Sheikh isn't a lifelong boxing promoter, he's not a fighter. He's a Saudi government official with deep pockets and a mission to turn his country into a global sports hub. He's bringing in boxing legends like Roberto Duran, setting up extravagant fight cards, and making moves that traditional boxing promoters wouldn't dare attempt. But he's also making fights that don't make sense, like Canelo versus Crawford, a fight with a major size disadvantage. In any other era, that matchup wouldn't even be considered. But Alal Sheikh is making it happen. Not because it's right for the sport, but because he can.
Is that just you being competitive, like when that happens, or is it like...
I just really don't like that dude.
Why though?
Cause I just don't like him. Like, I really don't like him. I don't like.
It's not your cup of tea. That's just not your.
Yeah, I don't like nothing about him.
Canelo is a natural super middleweight who has even competed at light heavyweight. Crawford, for all his greatness, is a welterweight. In any other era, this fight wouldn't even be considered. But Alal Sheikh is making it happen, not because it makes sense for the sport, but simply because heckin'. And now, there's talk of him creating new boxing leagues, completely reshaping the sports structure. He has already backed a WBC league for young fighters, and insiders suggest another major league announcement is coming soon. For Davis, this is exactly why he's staying away. He sees the sport being redefined by someone who, in his view, doesn't truly understand it. He watches as fighters line up to kiss the ring, chasing massive paychecks without questioning the cost. And while others fall in line, he's standing alone, refusing to play along.
Send to me 2 Ferrari to play in Saudi Arabia. I said to him, we will send you 2 gloves if you want to play in Saudi Arabia. That's it. He said to me, send to me 2 Ferrari to play in Saudi Arabia. I said to him,
everyone is heading over there. And Alal Sheikh keeps saying, asterisk, I'm going to office. I'm going to do that. Asterisk, but Davis isn't buying it. Asterisk, you don't know anything about the sport, how are you going to do that? Asterisk, that's his frustration. He's watching it happen in real time, boxing's biggest name selling out, and no one stopping to question whether it's actually good for the sport. The truth is, Davis is in a unique position. He's one of the few fighters who can afford to take a stand. Most boxers don't have the luxury of turning down massive paydays, but Davis does. He's already one of the highest paid fighters in the world. He sells out arenas, his pay-per-views generate huge numbers, and financially, he's set. He doesn't need asterisk to follow the trend. He's built his own lane, and he's determined to stay in control of his own career.
Davis, he said to me, send to me 2 Ferrari to play in Saudi Arabia. I said to him, we will send you 2 gloves if you want to play in Saudi Arabia. That's it.
He has a vision. He wants to be the face of boxing in America. He's determined to keep the sport alive in Vegas, New York, and Los Angeles. He wants the biggest fights to happen on home soil, not halfway across the world under rules and conditions he doesn't trust. That's why his fight against Roach Jr. matters. It's not just about defending his title. It's about proving that boxing in the US is still strong, that a fighter could become a massive star without taking Saudi money, and that American boxing still has a future. But after this fight, what comes next?
If not, y'all gonna give it to him. So that's what made me like, oh yeah, I see what's going on. So now, give me 2 or 4 or 3 Ferraris. If not, ain't no point in me going over there for. Y'all got the money to do it.
2, 3, 4 Ferraris. Because I heard you said 2 after.
Terence Crawford doesn't see Gervonta Davis as just another fighter, another champion, or just another name in the sport. To Crawford, Davis represents something much deeper, something personal. It's not about competition, weight classes, or pound-for-pound debates. It's about the kind of person Davis is, and that's where Crawford draws the line. When asked about Davis during his interview on Cigar Talk, Crawford didn't hesitate. There was no sugarcoating, no politically correct answer, and no forced respect. He made it clear he does not like Gervonta Davis.
I mean, I was advised that. When my judge told that was the first time I've been, you know what I mean?
For sure.
So,
obviously, Drake Kendrick, nigga, that's the hottest shit in the culture right now. Drake and Kendrick went at it. Everybody talking about it. When you listen to these records, what you feel, like how you, who's winning, like what Tank is listening to right now?
I ain't listening to it.
Yeah.
Not one bit. It's not because of anything Davis has done to him directly, but because of who Davis is, how he carries himself, and what Crawford sees as a false sense of arrogance, shielded by fame, money, and bodyguards. Man, I just really don't like that dude. I just don't like him. I really don't like him. I don't like anything above him. That wasn't a fighter hyping up a future opponent. That wasn't promotional talk for a fight that may never happen. That was real, personal disdain. And it's rare to hear a fighter speak so openly about another, especially when they don't even compete in the summit division. But that's just how Crawford operates. He doesn't bite his tongue, and he doesn't pretend to respect someone just because they share the same profession.
I just don't like how this guy come in the game and he don't know nothing about the sport. Like, he don't know nothing about the sport. And everybody going over like, he wasn't even picking, like at first he wasn't even picking people that know stuff about the sport and position. He was just saying like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do.
To Crawford, Davis is a fighter who thrives on his public image, a superstar who plays up his tough guy persona, but wouldn't act the same way without security around him or cameras in his face. It's not about Davis' skills in the ring. Crawford gave him his credit. It's about his attitude, his behavior, and the way he carries himself outside the gym and away from the bright lights. Davis, of course, didn't take Crawford's words lightly. He never does. The moment Crawford's comments hit social media, Davis fired back with a post just as direct as Crawford's interview. But in classic Tank fashion, the post didn't last long. It was deleted almost as fast as it went up. That's Davis' style. He takes his shots, then pulls back, leaving just enough for people to talk, but not enough to keep it circulating forever.
Are you just not interested in fighting over there?
It's not that, but they came at me wrong the first time they ever came at me, which they said I will fight Devin. And then when he was saying like Devin was his guy, so I'm like, if Devin your guy, y'all gotta pay me.
Even though the post is gone, the tension is still obvious. This isn't the first time they've clashed. Their history of going back and forth online is well documented. There's always been an undercurrent of hostility whenever one speaks about theater, but this time, Crawford took it beyond Twitter jabs and Instagram comments. He laid it all out in a full interview, making sure people knew this wasn't about boxing. This wasn't just a competitive rivalry, this was personal. And that's before even getting to the other issue between them, Shocker Stevenson. If there's anything that could intensify their rivalry even further, it's Crawford's opinion on a potential fight between Davis and Stevenson.
Shakur against Tank.
Okay, yeah, so yeah, you and Canelo Alvarez were not on the same page last year. Now you are. Gervonta Davis, you're giving an invitation to Gervonta Davis.
I don't take anything as a person. I take it as I am professional.
Right.
Stevenson is Crawford's guy. They've been close for years, and it's no secret that Crawford has mentored him, guided him, and watched his rise with pride. So when the conversation shifted to a possible Stevenson versus Davis fight, there was never any doubt about who Crawford was backing. But it wasn't just about loyalty. Crawford didn't just say Stevenson would win because they're friends. He broke it down in a way that made it clear he truly believes Stevenson is the better fighter. We're going to take his personality and personal stuff out of it. But boxing, he's definitely talented, and he's definitely got that respect in the sport. But shocker, he's a different fighter.
If we was to fight right now on the streets, I'll break your fucking neck. And that's on my kids. And you know it, I know it, and the whole world know it. And I'm not talking about no fighting in the ring. If me and you was to fight outside, I will break.
Crawford never said Davis wasn't great. He didn't downplay his talent. But what he did say was that Davis has never faced anyone like Stevenson. He pointed out that people used to call Floyd Mayweather boring and question his power just like they do with Stevenson. But Floyd was a master of defense, and in Crawford's eyes, Stevenson is built the same way. The key? Davis won't be able to hit Stevenson the way he hits everyone else.
Hopefully I fight Ryan again. If they're not on some whole shit, I text that ass again. Tell them boys to give me 150 M's. I'm coming. You know what I mean? When I start streaming out that, yeah, niggas start talking that, stop it, knock it off, cuz. Stop it.
This isn't the first time people have said Davis would struggle against a slick, technical boxer. They said the same before he fought Hector Luis Garcia. They said it before he fought Ryan Garcia, and both of them ended up getting stopped. But what's your take on Crawford thoughts? Share your opinion in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more updates.